what am I? Am I a preacher? Am I a pastor? Am I a prophet? Am I Jesus? Am I Muhammad? Am I Buddha? No, bro, I am God. I am the beginning and the end.
If you consume enough online content, then it's very likely you've come across Penuel. A voice well spoken, a mind that appears to be deeply immersed in the sources of financial wisdom and political insight. An impressive character, isn't he? I thought so too. Well, until he referred to himself as God.
I want people to see me as a God, as the beginning and the end of their consciousness. I exist because Penuel explains it in this way. Not the Big Bang, not God creating Adam. I created all these people to tell me that this is history, and I entertain them because I created them. When I go to sleep, they cease to exist.
You are leading a cult.
I believe so.
The allure of an articulate mind. The magnetic pull of a speaker who seems to navigate the complexities of our world with grace and poise. How easy it is to be drawn into the orbit of such a persona, to find solace in their words and comfort in their certainties. Can a mortal ascend to the stature of a god? Can wisdom, though profound, always be considered flawless?
Trying to colonize minds?
I'm a narcissist by definition. That means I suck my own dick, basically. I think I should gold.
We are all chimps. We are all fucking chimps, just trying to get by, have a fucking apple and a banana, find the hottest chimp hun, get her excited, have some babies, raise the babies, and then die.
March 1986, in the heart of Madadeni Township, Penuel was born. This modest corner of Newcastle, South Africa, would set the stage for a story both extraordinary and enigmatic. From the tender age of Chelmsford Primary, Penuel displayed an insatiable thirst for knowledge that belied his years. As he progressed to Newcastle High School, the young boy continued to ascend. Here was a head prefect, an A student, a passionate choir boy, and an athletic young man who conquered the rugby field with grace. Yet, Penuel's journey bore the unmistakable scars of identity and circumstance.
I think there may have been a slight identity crisis, which may have also played a factor. My mom is mixed race. Her father was an Indian Muslim man. Her mom, a black Zulu woman, Utemba Maria Nyaga. So that would make my mom different, which would make me sort of different.
This fusion of cultures shaped his empathy for the diverse human fabric. It was a journey of self-discovery, an awakening to the rich spectrum of human existence that defies categorization. In his words, Penuel spoke of the mixed race experience, one where the duality of heritage illuminates a path towards profound empathy. He ponders the lives of figures like Trevor Noah, whose worldview, he argues, was inherently shaped by the mosaic of their existence, birthing an empathy that transcends the rigid boundaries of race.
I've lived a life where I've never really fitted in anyway, in any particular way. Even now, people still debate on what I am. People will say, oh, you're black. And then someone will turn around and say, no, but he's not black. He's not black, he's colored. And then colored people will say, but you're not colored. And then when you get older, it's cool because you've lived everywhere and nowhere. You've been everyone and no one. So you can say everything and nothing.
Then came the pivotal move, Johannesburg, the city of dreams. A journey from the township to the suburbs, marking a transition both geographical and societal. Next came the University of Johannesburg, providing the platform for his pursuit of an honors degree in accounting. As the years unfolded, the seeds planted in Madadeni Township expanded into a forest of potential. The head prefect, the choir boy, the rugby star, was a grown man now. Penuel embarked on a business venture that would come to define a chapter in his life. With dreams of solving problems for the masses, especially in the African context, he delved into various enterprises. One noteworthy initiative was the establishment of the National Savings Club, a concept rooted in harnessing the power of informal savings clubs, a common practice in South Africa, locally referred to as Stokvel. Penuel's vision was audacious, yet noble of course. to create an informal stock exchange where everyday people, not the affluent elite, could pool their resources. The NSC quickly gained traction, amassing over R1 million in contributions. Penuel in turn invested these funds in an array of businesses, ranging from cattle farming to small enterprises run by ordinary individuals. It was a venture fueled by optimism, where Penuel saw himself as a conduit of economic empowerment. However, it wasn't long before the cracks in this grand design began to surface.
I failed, and the people that invested in me were angry. I got 2 death threats. I got 3 lawyers from letters.
Debts mounted, assets were sold off, and Penuel was confronted with the harsh reality of business failure. The very people who had invested their trust and resources in him were now grappling with disappointment and anger, some referring to him as a scam artist.
The returns I was offering were not sustainable because I was offering people 40% a year, which
40% return.
40% return.
Yeah, and that sounds like a scam.
Yeah, right. 40% returns? Not very realistic, is it? Sounds like returns offered by typical scam investments to lure in investors' money, or should I say, lure in victims. I guess we'll never know what the true intention was.
I want to know about Penuelism.
I'm trying to impose my worldview on as many people as I can while I'm alive, with the hope of manipulating them for what I think is better.
Well, you are a Christian from Jesus Christ of 2022 years ago. I am a Penuelist of Penuel, who's a current leader in my lifetime.
So I decided to crystallize my worldview into a book called Penuelism Principles, which is meant to over time rival the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, the Buddhist writings.
Penuelism, as he describes it, stands apart from conventional religions. It's a belief system tailored for the modern world, a product of his own introspection and interpretation. So, how does one become a Penuelist, right?
I say a Penuelist is someone who sees me as their leader and life guide. Religion is a couple of people that want the world to behave in a certain way.
As compelling as these beliefs may be to some, there arises natural skepticism. It's not uncommon to question the origins and true intentions of such a distinctive belief system. Some may draw parallels to charismatic leaders in history who wielded influence with fervent followers, sometimes with tragic consequences. Comparisons may be made to figures like Jim Jones, notorious for the tragic events in Jonestown, or to modern-day New Age cult leaders like Andrew Tate. The line between an empowering belief system and potentially dangerous cult-like ideologies is a fine one. You know, on one hand, Penuelists, as Penuel would call them, may find empowerment, a renewed sense of purpose, and a community that resonates with their ideals. Well, on the other, there's the potential of blind adherence and the surrendering of one's individual autonomy. I sit back and think to myself, could any of this be a mere insatiable thirst for power? Could this be a man at war with himself, right? Maybe not. It might well be the story of a black child who grew up in a fractured apartheid regime. Perhaps it is the tale of a weary soul bearing witness to the enduring agony of his people. Maybe just a man who is aware of how a white Western religion has been used to conquer lands and leave generations of communities in destitution and despair. But regardless, Penuel is but a man, and just as flawed as any of us. He may possess a certain level of intellect and envision a world he deems revolutionary, but that does not make him a god.
Do you really believe that you're God, though?
I'm the center, which makes me God. I'm not a messenger of God. I am God. I am the beginning and the end.
So would you say you are leading a cult?
Yes, it's a cult. Because the true definition of a cult is what Jesus and them were doing.
Cult. The very word evokes images of secrecy, devotion, and charismatic leaders who hold sway over their followers. But what exactly defines a cult? In essence, a cult is a relatively small group led by a charismatic and often self-appointed leader who exerts excessive control over its members. These groups require unwavering devotion to a set of beliefs and practices that often deviate from the norms of society. Cults can also be characterized by their unusual religious, spiritual, or philosophical beliefs and rituals, or their common interest in a particular person, object, or goal. Now, you might wonder, what's so bad about a cult? Well, the term cult in the English-speaking world often carries derogatory connotations. It's often used as a derogatory label for groups with differing doctrines or practices. In simpler terms, it's sometimes used to dismiss or criticize belief systems that don't align with mainstream norms. But isn't that subjective? After all, one person's cult might be another person's religion, right? Well, it's true. The perception of what constitutes a cult can be subjective. It can boil down to the religion I don't like. Now, let's turn our attention to Penuel and his beliefs, especially those that may sound misogynistic.
You don't know. Is she a virgin? You don't know. What is she being taught? Is she being taught at home? Does she know how to be subservient to a man? Does she kneel?
It's crucial to approach his words with skepticism, much like we would when evaluating the infamous Andrew Tate. Tate has been accused of indoctrinating young men online into misogynistic behaviors, viewing women as objects and promoting a toxic version of masculinity. But that is not the end of it.
The power comes in numbers. That means mele shaukwai baba ube dengane iningi. There's power in numbers. There's power in weaponry. If the Zulu nation wants to be powerful, they need to get nuclear weapons. They need to get drone weapon technology. They need to get fighter jets and guns. Every house yakwaZulu mele ishaywe njengebhamu ezu-10. That's power. Can you guys grow your own food? Or are you asking the Jewish Pick and Pay to feed you?
When Penuel talks about empowering the Zulu nation with nuclear weapons, we should pause and reflect. While the idea of empowering a community might sound appealing, the dangers of a destructive and violent leader wielding such power should not be underestimated. His views on acquiring nuclear weapons, drone technology, and fighter jets raise serious concerns about the consequences of what could be. Then, when you think it couldn't get any worse, of course Penuel believes that.
The moon landing, I believe, are fake. But that means the astrology you taught us is not true, or you guys never landed there. So I don't believe in the moon landing.
Have you really thought about what it would take to fake a moon landing? Because the rocket did launch. We all saw the rocket launch, okay? So there's hardware there. They're like office buildings of blueprints for the design of the Saturn V rocket. The hundreds of engineering hours that went behind this and the records of those designs. If you wanted to fake the moon landing, you would have to fake all of these documents. And it just seems to me, it's way easier to just go to the moon. Has anyone considered that? Just go to the moon. That's easier than faking all of this. So, no, but yeah, we went to the moon.
I wouldn't be surprised if Penuel was a flat earther too. Out of all conspiracy theories, he decides to pick the moon landings, a theory supported by weak evidences like discrepancies in the footage and photographs. I mean, I get the idea he's trying to present, right? Being a free thinker and owning your own mind and all that. But does that mean we should discredit years of scientific research simply because we feel like it isn't true, without any proof whatsoever that it isn't true? And funny enough, you have people who become indoctrinated into all of this, right? He claims to be building a community of independent thinkers, but the truth is the masses are gullible. And he understands this, which perhaps might be one of the most significant dangers associated with cults: blind followership.
If you do not have the ability to lead yourself, because that's very common, please follow the right leader and fight for that leader and be willing to kill for that leader.
When individuals unquestioningly follow a leader, they become vulnerable to manipulation and exploitation. This blind allegiance can lead to tragic outcomes, as history has shown us in cases like Jonestown and the Manson murders. Drawing historical comparisons, we can see parallels between Penuelism and other controversial belief systems. Cults throughout history have often emerged from a combination of societal upheaval, charismatic leaders, and individuals searching for meaning or a sense of belonging. Now, let's talk about the intriguing world of modern cult dynamics. It's not all secluded compounds and secretive rituals anymore. Not really. Today's cult leaders have taken a page from the marketing playbook, turning themselves into marketable brands. Take, for instance, figures like Andrew Tate. He's not just a person, he's a brand. A persona meticulously crafted for maximum impact. You see, these leaders often package their teachings as if they were offering life-altering products. It's as if they've distilled ancient wisdom into a marketable elixir, ready to be consumed by the masses. But here's where things get dicey. This wisdom, seemingly profound and revered, can become nothing more than a commodity, something to be bought and sold like any other product on the shelf. You see, Penuel's book, for instance, which supposedly carries sacred text, is actually monetized. Well, of course, I'm not suggesting that he gives out free copies. You look into Penuelism Principles, a book he claims will rival the Bible and the Quran, that covers topics like minimalism, money, and a rational view on politics, and find out that it's merely another self-help manual. When enlightenment can be bought for the price of a paperback, one must question the true worth of such wisdom. Wait till he can click funnel you. Wait till there's a link to a 6-day course that teaches you how to win in life, right? Wait till there's black t-shirts available for sale. This commodification of a belief system raises a host of questions. Is Penuel truly motivated by a desire to help his followers, or is he driven by the allure of profit and power? When sacred teachings become a revenue stream, can we still trust in their authenticity and purity? I am not a theologian, and this was never meant to be a theological debate about which God you should follow. The question of whether Penuelism is a visionary belief system or the construct of a delusional individual with a God complex is one that each person must grapple with on their own terms. Stay vigilant, my friends. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you today. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video to support what we do here at Curiosities. As always, see you next time.